Here today.
It's
We're
my
glad we
pleasure.
at LSCTF are glad that you're able to join us on this live streaming. And like I was saying, well done on the good work you have been doing. I've read so much. In fact, I have information overload. I'm
Hey,
hoping I'm able to ask all the questions
wow,
before we go
okay.
off. So, without further ado, let's just start. I don't know if you
Okay.
want to introduce yourself, Yesterday, just give like a brief of who you are and what you do.
Okay, my name is Yetunde Akande. I'm a fashion entrepreneur, the director of the Yetroselane brand. Yetroselane is a fashion brand that deals with women's clothing. We produce it and we retail women's wear. And also, we have a fashion academy where we empower the youths, and also it's our way of giving back. Yeah, I guess that's why you're here. So I'll give more insights to
Yeah,
that
so
as we go
well,
on.
let's just go by saying, let me just say by, okay, so can you give us more background? Because yes, I know I've
Okay.
seen your Lane on Instagram, you know how Instagram, and you know how they, what's that word? When they know you're looking for something, then everybody in that business starts to come on your Instagram, feed. So I know I see your Lane a lot. I see your clothes and it's beautiful. But I just want you
Thank
to give
you.
me like more background into why you even thought about going into what you're doing.
Okay, for me, it never started out as this is what I wanted to do. I never had the idea. And my story is very intriguing in the fact that I started out as an undergraduate back then in 2008. So I went for my cousin's wedding. Let me start with a brief story so you can relate. I went
Yeah.
for my cousin's wedding in 2007, and then I saw this friend of mine, childhood friend. She made the shirt she was wearing, and then I was still a teenager. We were teenagers then, and I was like, how could you make this? I mean, it's not like now that you see anybody can do anything, but back then
Yeah.
it wasn't welcomed. And then I decided then that I wanted to learn how to sew. So I told my auntie to look for a place for me in Agbara Estate, and
Okay.
that was how she got me a place. I got to learn fashion for just 1 month. One
Mhm.
month training because I had to go back to school. I went to Bowen University and I had
Mhm.
just limited time. So I had just 1 month with no knowledge. All I knew I could do was just to run the machine, drive the machine, because my dad sews as well then, but it wasn't available in Nigeria as at then. So I didn't know any other thing aside that. I love to wear lovely clothes, fitted clothes. All I used to do was just to fit my clothes and then make them to fit. But because my
Yeah.
school, we
Mhm.
only wear skirts and it was limited. I go to the market, I don't see any skirts I really feel like I'm buying. So I started off making skirts for myself, and then my friends started liking it. They would take my skirts, and then people started offering me money to make for them. So during summer, I see myself just going to the market, buy fabric. I can remember back then, I would cut 20 skirts a day. The next day, I'm going to sew 10. So I'm like, if I sell this skirt for 10,000 and the fabric then was just 500 and with 500 fabric, I would make two skirts.
Wow. Yeah.
If they can pay me 1,000 naira for one skirt, that means in a day I will make 20,000 naira. That was how I
Mhm.
thought of it then. And then I'll take it to school. People will rush it then. Like so many of my mates, I even got awarded for that in school because I
Wow.
started off just selling to people. So it never
Yeah.
started like I wanted to do it. And then I finished from school and I got to serve with Access Bank. So I got this space I was managing with one other woman, and that was how I just started. I got retained with Access Bank. I started sewing for my friends, my colleagues there. I served with them, and then I got retained. But at that point, I knew that I can't do this. So I went to Access Bank training school,
Mhm.
and from there, my mind I wasn't concentrating. I'm very whenever I do something, I do it well. So it wasn't like education
Mm.
wasn't my thing. I graduated with a very good CGPA, 4 point something or so. So it's not
Mhm.
as if I was
Oh.
running away from the stress
Yeah.
of the school. And that was how it started because I already had customers, even people were already coming to learn. And for me, it was more of the impact. And I can remember my mom saying, if you leave this training school, I ran out at the second month. If you leave this training school, I'm going to disown you. I'm like, well, in fact, it's so funny because I had
Mhm.
to call my uncle to please help me plead
Mhm.
with her. Guess what? Right now, my mom is my number one supporter. You
Surely I
know,
can imagine.
so for me, it never started out as because she
Mhm.
our worries, and I understand our worries because at the end of the day, I still had to go back and think about okay, this was why she was saying these things. How would a teenager, just decide that she wants to do this in
Mm.
an environment where tailoring was known to be for dropouts. It wasn't
Mhm.
really a thing of, like entrepreneurship now that is being welcomed across the world.
Yeah.
Then it
Yeah.
was more like you don't have anything to just go and learn something.
Mm.
And she was thinking of staff management and everything for me, but I wasn't thinking in that aspect. I was just like, no, I just want to do this. So I guess
Mm.
I don't know how it started, but that's just it for me. So
Wow.
that's, yeah.
Wow. It's truly inspiring. And I say that not because I just want to just throw words at you, but the fact that you were able to realize that, oh, this is your friend, she made her clothes, and just the fact that you told your parents that you wanted to do like 1 month training. I cannot tell you how many times I've wanted to do just that 1 month training because I love fashion. I mean, every woman loves fashion. But I
Yeah.
also like to, I would make my clothes. But at the back somewhere, there's just that laziness that holds me back. So I will tell you, it's truly inspiring for me that you did that and see you
Thank
today.
you.
I mean, fantastic, fantastic. It's
Thank you. It's
fantastic.
not been easy.
I can imagine not in a country like Nigeria and
Yeah.
business generally anywhere is not easy, but then you
Yeah.
have the Nigerian factor added
Yeah.
to it. So you can
Yeah.
imagine. Trust me, we will get there. So I wanted to ask you,
Okay.
what would you say has been your greatest business moment? When you think back to your life, your business, just being in this fashion industry, what would you say has been your greatest business moment?
For me, it was when life happened. Life
Okay.
happened. So in 2014, I've been running the business the best way I could,
Mm-hmm,
and through trial and error. But I'm the kind of person that doesn't like to make the same mistake over and over
mm-hmm,
again.
mm-hmm.
With the little knowledge I had at Access Bank Training School, I just I knew that I could run with it, and I love to keep books and all that. So for me, it was at that point when I had to move. So I got
Mm,
married in
okay.
2014.
Mhm.
I relocated. I didn't plan,
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't plan on, and I had two stores back then in
Mm-hmm.
Ibadan. So I had two
Okay.
stores in Ibadan that was running and was
Okay.
going on fine. Like the business there, I was fine, and Ibadan is still is it was a small market, so I was
Mm-hmm.
recognized. It was
Mm-hmm.
fascinating, and then
Yeah.
I relocated here, I moved to Lagos, and then everything came crumbling. Like my team members, everything, like they started to steal from me. I had to shut down the two stores to cut the long story short.
Wow.
And I was stuck in between, okay, do I continue or do I give up? So I was at that point and I was pregnant, and I'd always felt like, when I'm pregnant, I'm going to look this, I added 30 kg. I was
Wow.
on bed rest for the first 3 months. So it was like it was a total, it was a different, oh, it was a fact. So that at that point, what I
Yeah.
decided, I knew that it was in me, that regardless of whenever I start, I know
Mm,
myself. I
mm,
would pick it up again. It's in me. I used to cut and sew myself. I know
mm-hmm,
the craft. And I've built
mm,
myself up to understand that, okay, the business side is also very important. So I owe
mm-hmm,
it to myself to always train myself. So at that point, I knew that it was a sacrifice I had to make. And then I
mm-hmm.
started all over again, and boom, you know and the
Yeah.
fact that you make clothes for people and they love it, it boosts their confidence. So it
Mm-hmm,
gives me
mm-hmm,
that joy when they say, oh, she made it, and all that, and even the training aspect. So for me, that's one point I would always be grateful for, that I never gave up, because if I'd
mm.
given up, all these lives that I've touched would
Yeah.
not have, I mean,
Yeah.
it could have happened through somebody else, but I was
Yeah.
called to do this. It's beyond just
Yeah.
about me now. It is what I was
Mm,
called to do this. This is my ministry, especially the academy aspect where I empower youth.
mm, yeah.
And there was another point that really, really got me. I went to Ibadan, and then I saw this lady that was my dad's secretary back then, and she had issues with admission and all that. So while I was doing this thing, she was assisting me and
Mm,
helping out. So I trained her how to do it, and she saw me. She hugged me because we lost contact for a bit when I moved away, and then
mm,
she started crying, and she said, "Yetunde, you are the reason why my family is not hungry."
mm,
Because her brother that used to be the breadwinner, something
mm,
happened, and then she is the
yeah.
one fending. And now she's I mean, she has grown. She now has I'm sure she will have up to like a team of 8. She's married,
Wow.
she has a child, and
Wow.
she's doing
Wow.
it. And I was so happy, and I'm like, yes, this is the reason. This is it. This is why I'm still doing what I'm doing. So there are times when I want to give up, and I just
Yeah.
look back and I think about those things.
Yeah.
So for me, every time I get good review, I
Mm,
get feedbacks,
yeah.
it's just that moment for me. That is the reason why I'm still doing what I'm doing. Yeah.
Well
So
done. You know,
thank you.
something stuck out for me when you said, you mentioned that you learned how, so you knew your craft. So
Yeah.
even though your tailors had to leave, you had to leave Ibadan where you were where you were familiar with, and you know the location and everything, but you knew your craft.
Yeah.
I would hold on to that because I haven't gotten to where I want us to talk about you knowing your craft. I'm going to
Okay.
ask you another question, but we're going to go back to you knowing your
Okay.
craft. Yes. So the next question I wanted to ask is, what does it take to thrive in this business? Because you have spoken about knowing your craft, which I'm still coming to. Let's just hold
Okay.
it. And you've been trained. But what else, if you were to advise someone, what would you say takes it, as in gives you that impetus to go on? What makes you thrive in this business?
Okay. So first thing, before now, I would say passion. But let me bust your bubbles. The honest truth is passion is not enough. In
Wow.
fact, whether you know your craft or not, that is just 20% of what you need to run the business. 20% is what you need, is the vocational training technical aspect. You see, the remaining 80% is the business skill. One thing
Mm,
I tell my people and my academies, you run a business not because you feel like doing it, not because of how I started, because then I didn't know what I was doing. It was out of passion. I wasn't clear, no business plan, nothing. I just
mm,
started. That is a wrong way to start because you give
mm,
up along the way. But you start a business because you want to run a business. Now, look at businesses. A bank is a business on its own. Other businesses, so everything across running the business, whether it is farming or whatever, you still need to understand that there are lots of things because you know your craft. So what? There are so
mm,
many people out there. Where I learned, she's still at that shop till today. She hasn't moved, she hasn't grown. So your work is not enough for you. Your craft
mm,
is not enough for you. But how to run that business, how to make it scale. I used to cut and sew for by myself. But the honest truth is I can't even do that anymore because if I want to grow, I need to run the business. I need to train people. I need to trust people. There is a lot that comes with running the business. So the skill enough is not the skill, the technical skill is not enough. Having the leadership skill, the soft skill, and when I say soft skill, management, staff management, accounting. You love to cut and sew, just like me. I love to stain, fit clothes, and wear fine clothes. Will I keep my business going? No, I have
mm,
salaries to pay. I have to know
mhm,
my bookkeeping, whether I studied accounting or not. I studied computer science, information technology. But right now,
mm,
I'm sewing. I'm managing.
mm,
You love to sew, but you don't know anything about accounting. You don't know anything about HR. You'll be the one to go and source for fabrics. You'll be the customer service relation. You'll be everything that a business needs to thrive. How do you want to cope? I heard there's this man that I listened to from one of my courses that I take because I love taking courses. I love researching about businesses. Emmanuel Tafa, he said entrepreneurship is like an airplane that has over 5 million parts. And you,
mm,
as an entrepreneur, must know at least all of the parts. You might not know everything in depth, and that's why we have
mhm.
professionals you can outsource to. But
Yeah.
imagine you have an accountant and the person is telling you about your profit, and you're looking like, what's this one saying? You need to
Mm,
understand every bit of it. And that's what I mean by to run a successful business, you need to understand that you are running a business
mm,
and
mm,
and build
mm.
yourself up to understand those skills. It took me a while, it took me years to understand that. In fact, there was a time in my business while I think that was 2013, five of my staff left at the same time. It was planned.
Wow.
And
Wow.
it was on April 1. I thought it was April Fool. I was waiting to pass 12, like, 12, it was 12 o'clock. This food did not end though. And I was like, where do I go on from here? How do I
Mhm,
move on? But guess
mm,
what? I went to my older store. I cried my eyes out. It's okay to cry. We cry a lot. In fact, it is a normal thing because
mm.
entrepreneurship is not child's play. And then I got
Yeah.
up on my feet, did what I could, tried to hire more people to help me get the work done. So you need to understand that you are in a business because you want to run a business. Do you understand? So if
Mm,
you love fashion, which is the passion, it is fine, but you have to know those other aspects, which is the 80% that would keep you in that business and help you
mm,
grow.
mm,
So that's what I would
mm.
say. But
So passion is just the tip of the
yeah,
iceberg
it
in
keeps you going
getting the
sometimes.
business running.
Yeah,
You have to build on your passion. So
yeah,
would you say, because you've talked about a lot of things now and you've mentioned the business of fashion, So
Yeah,
would you say that your your greatest lessons also came from what you have mentioned? Um,
absolutely.
yeah. Do you want to tell us more? Because we have people that are about to start this
Yes,
business. People that want to come to your fashion academy are here listening to us and saying, okay,
yes.
once I'm done, I want to blow like this woman. Because once you
Amen. We
just
have
do
to all
what you
blow.
want, you have to blow. Everybody wants to blow in Nigeria.
Yes, so
So saying your greatest moments came from what you have just spoken about.
yes.
Your greatest lessons, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, it's fine. Yes. So for me, I did not start right. And that was what my mom saw back then. But I made a decision that, you know what, if I want to do this, if I want to keep impacting people's lives, I owe it to myself to build myself up. Not that I never had any experience working in any corporate environment, so it was tough.
Yeah.
And looking at where I came from, the exposure wasn't that great.
Mhm.
So coming to Lagos, where everything is like bass boss in my head, like,
Real bad
and
boss. Yeah.
yes, and the honest truth is, ignorance is not an excuse. You need to
Mm,
equip yourself. So
mm,
one of the things I
mm,
did, for every time I make a mistake, I ask myself, what could I have done differently? What do I need to do to ensure that this doesn't happen again? So let me give an instance. When five of my staff left at the same time, I was like, what happened? And I had to shut down. So I took the lessons from all the years that I've been working, and I realized that I needed help, and I had to look for mentors. Now,
mm,
mentors does not necessarily mean you need somebody in your field. It could be people from other fields. And I can remember summing up courage and taking a course on structure with Tara Fela Duroto. It was a one-on-one class, and that class changed my life. It changed my life, not just my business. I mean, my life, my personal life, my marriage, my family, everything, because it made me understand that, see, you are in a business, but you cannot do it alone. You want your business to outlive you, you need to put structures in place. And that was where I learned about staff management as well. And I'm like, okay, if they left, there's an adage that says that in Yoruba, so I'll try to interpret it in
mm,
English. It says that when a dog sees you and the dog wiggles its tail, that means the dog is happy. Now, when you
mhm,
see that same dog and the dog begins to bark, then you understand that something is definitely wrong with that dog. So you owe it to find out what happened. That was the case when five of my staff left. So there was actually an unhappy staff, but I didn't pay attention to it. I didn't have that personal relationship with each and every one of them. I was nice. In fact, I cried because I was too nice to them. Talk about money. I don't owe them. I give them things. So I felt really betrayed. But it's beyond just doing things out of how you feel. It's by running the business the way it's supposed to be run. Your responsibilities as a business owner, what you owe your staff and what they owe you, your obligations to your staff. And that is one of it. You need to pay attention to everything going on in your organization. So that was what I lacked at that point in time. But I looked for help. I got her. She taught me other aspects, making me understand that, see, there is a Joseph in everybody. You hire
mm,
staff and you say they are not doing the work right, but at the end of the day, it comes down to us. What do you want? What does that role entail? So there is a lot. Right now, I don't even say, when there is a problem in my organization, when there is a challenge, I love to call it challenges. I think about it. Okay, there's some part of me that understands. I don't lie to myself. I know
mm,
what the problem is. And I keep saying, if I'd done this earlier,
mhm,
if I'd given them their contract earlier, if I'd written out, if I'd spelled out the work to them, this is what is expected of you, I'd listed everything, it won't happen. So
mm,
simple things such as job descriptions, can actually really go a very long way. So for me,
mhm,
you need to get trained, you need to get mentors in your field as well. For instance, my fashion academy now, for me, it is more of a ministry because of all the struggles I had to go through. And I
mm,
said to myself that
mm,
I do not want anybody to feel the same thing. And I find myself, people come to me, they ask me, I tell them as it is. I share my own
mm,
challenges, I share
mm,
how I was able to solve it, and they are fine. And anytime they see me, I'm like, calm down. Now it's just advice now, small thing like that. And then I decided that I
yeah,
wanted to do more. People need
mhm,
to know what I am doing. So I'm very passionate about fellow fashion entrepreneurs, and that is my niche. And one thing
mm,
I try to teach them is my struggles, how you can scale through. Most of these things you're going through, it is normal. If
mm,
I may ask, when you are having headache, do you break your head? Do you
No.
cut off the head and say, Ed, I don't want you again?
No.
No. You either rest, you get medications, you go for treatment. It's the
Mm-hmm.
exact same thing when it comes to business. But the problem is when there is a challenge like this, it's too hard. I
Mm,
can't even
mm,
cope. But we fail
mm,
to look within and ask ourselves, how can this be better? How do
mm,
people do it? So these are the areas where we also need to look into. So it's not enough to say, I just want to start up. I tell people, I've had to train people that it's not about your money. If you
mm,
have all the money to set up, it still
mhm.
doesn't mean that you would
Yeah.
scale. That's why you see lots of fashion businesses. They open up after 1 year, 2 years, they've shut down
Mm,
because they lack what it takes to run that business. And how do you do that? Look for people, do your research. You want to start a clothing line, you have to know everything about starting a clothing line. And right now, the information is everywhere. Like lots of courses, lot of free. Just Google your question, you will see answers. So you owe it to yourself to equip yourself with all those information. Knowledge is power as far as I'm concerned, and there is nothing you've gone through in life that other people have not gone through. Look for a mentor. For instance, my academy, I have something called the Yetroselane Inner Circle, where I mentor fellow fashion entrepreneurs, that are struggling. So any area, I just mentor you for a bit and then you remain in that tribe. So it's a network where we empower ourselves. You have an issue, your staff is acting up, this is what you can do. You need contacts for somebody that supplies something, here is it, like that. We just try to help ourselves up. Groups like that, join, find yourself in one of those things, places. I have mentors that are not within my it could even be from your friend. I have friends that I know that when it comes to finances, they are good at it. When it comes to so pick your friend's strengths and
mm,
look at where they can help you in your business.
mm.
There are
Yeah.
so many people around you. So many people around. Just look within, think about what you need, and ask
Mm,
for them. You don't have to pay. My mentors right now, I do not pay them a dime, and I'm so
mm,
grateful
mm,
because they saw that I was ready. They see what I want to do, and they understand that, oh, because of my journey, there are some things I don't know yet. And they try
mm,
to let me know that, yes, if you want this, you have to learn this. Right
mm.
now, I've been in courses. Like last night, I was up to like 2 a.m. studying at the Enterprise Development Center. I had courses that I had to read up on. And every time I go through any course, I learn something new. And then you just sit there and think that it's about dancing on Instagram and selling. No, it's beyond that. I hope I've not
Yetunde,
over. I'm
Yetunde,
shaking table.
that's shades. You are shady.
And
Oh
me, I
God.
dance on Instagram now. So if you are copying me, you don't know what my own foundation is like. So
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. So I
thank
hear
you.
you. You said you talked a lot about knowledge, and they
Yes.
say knowledge is power.
Yeah,
And so it
absolutely.
leads me to okay. Before I go to my next question, I had one I wanted to ask you. I like the
Okay.
idea of the inner caucus for your
Okay.
mentees, where
Yeah.
you share ideas, you share challenges, and everything. And I wanted to know if you well, outside of that, your inner caucus, are you a member of any other fashion designing group or association? Because I know I've heard of AFDEC.
Yeah.
I've heard of AWE. I don't know if you know about the AWE, the
I
one
am
with
there
the
currently. I am there currently.
oh,
I'm one of the
great.
students of the
Okay, great.
AWE
So,
at the
okay.
moment.
So you pull from one another because I've gone for one of the programs with the I think the last inauguration of the I think governing body. I think they
Yeah.
did that like 2 weeks. No, no, not 2 weeks. Like 2 months ago, I was there, and I met with a lot of beautiful people with
Amazing.
beautiful ideas. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's another thing people should attain
Exactly.
towards. Yes, you need to move with the pack. People
And
that
it
are doing
is
the same
free.
thing. Yes,
It is
it is
free.
free.
Because when
Yes,
you
yes.
ask them, they say money, money, money.
Mm,
The one I'm currently doing with EDC, it is free. All they need to know
imagine.
is you fill the form, you let
Mhm.
them know I am in business because I want this, I need this. This
Yeah,
is my this
yeah,
is my intentions. This is what
yeah.
this is where I am at the moment. I need help.
Yeah, I feel as if also a lot of people do not have this information. They don't know,
Yeah,
and a lot of people do not know how to fill these forms.
yeah,
So there are quite challenges in different areas. And I wouldn't mind if maybe before we leave the live show, maybe you can share some information on free courses. I don't
okay,
know if you have it readily available, or you can share with us. We can put out on our social media pages for people
okay,
that might be interested. Okay, so
okay,
going on to the next question, I wanted to ask you about this
okay.
question. It's
Okay.
about your Emerge New York show.
Okay.
When I saw that, I was so excited, and because what this tells me is that you're looking beyond the shores of Africa.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're being global. So, how did you position yourself to get that opportunity? How did that happen?
You know, you said something earlier. You said if we go on, then we'll be here for hours. Oh, you
Go,
said
let's
something
just
earlier.
go. I'm enjoying it so much.
You said something earlier. You said you wish you had that 1 month. You want to learn fashion, but something
Yeah.
keeps holding you back. Now that is
Mhm.
that same thing. We all have that moment when we just feel held back, like, do I do this? Can I do this? Do I have the time? You ask yourself lots of why questions. You see that opportunity came from when I had this client that I would bead clothes for. I make her bespoke clothing. So she doesn't do my regular ready to wear. Like this Ankara, I'm going to bead everything. We bead everything.
Yeah, yeah,
You won't see
yeah,
any
yeah.
fabric. We bead it all. And then she didn't meet me directly, but she
Mm,
saw my work and then had interest in me. And then she said there was this opportunity. So she got to know me. She came to Nigeria and then she came to my store. I was honored. And then she told me about this New York Fashion Week. And,
yeah.
she said would have to go to Ghana first for
Okay.
auditioning. And
Okay.
I went, a week before, I was saying that, am I sure I want to do this?
Mm.
Your village people sometimes want to come and just disturb you. But it's not
Yeah.
village people, it is you.
Yes.
I knew it was time for me. I've been doing this for a long time. This is my 13th year doing this business. In fact, we'll be having a party on Sunday to mark 13 years in this business. So I
Wow.
knew that it was time to break out. Like I've been still confined in my space.
Mm.
And this was 2 years ago, 2019,
Mhm.
and she told me about the Ghana. I told her, okay, no problem, I'll do it, ma. A week before, I called her to tell her, ma, I'm sorry, I'm not going to attend.
Hmm.
I don't know why. She said, Yetunde. That's how
Hmm.
she calls me. Yetunde, you have to attend. Don't worry, this, that. Okay, I now said, okay, I just need that push. Sometimes all we need is that push. You need that mentor that would
Mm.
push you and tell you, you know what, you can do this. So please, you need that one person that'll tell you the truth. So I decided I got my team members and then we went to Ghana. I designed that collection,
Mm.
and then we got to Ghana. The host, Ivy Prosper, she's a host in Ghana. She moved from New York to Ghana.
Okay.
So she's a model,
Mhm.
and she was
The
our
host.
host
Yeah.
that day.
Yeah.
Immediately she saw my collection, she started to cry.
Mm.
I have that clip, I think it should be on my YouTube channel, Yetroselane. She started to cry. And that was it for me. And I was looking like, hey, please, where do I even wanted to start crying with her? And she said, this is the reason why she came back to Africa. That I spoke the story at that moment. I'm like, hey, and the woman was saying, Yetunde, you carry so much. Don't let anything
Mm.
bring it down, blah, blah, blah. So I did that. And the woman gave me an opportunity to exhibit my clothing. I sold out.
Wow.
I got my flight ticket. I sold out that day. So automatically, I was qualified for the New York
Mhm.
Fashion Week. And then the time came, rush, 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 rush. We did it. And so that was how I got the opportunity for the
Mm.
New York Fashion Week,
Mm.
because
Mm.
my mind, so your mind has to be ready to be able to attract such opportunities. Because if your mind is not ready, you see those opportunities and you just pass them by.
Mhm.
So you have to be aware. Like you said, some people are not even aware of the information. Go out there, look at where it's happening, join them by force. Follow the people that have those information. Yes, like the AWE, a woman knew that I was ready. She knew that, oh, I could do that. No, it was like,
Mm.
oh, fantastic. You see, so I did one course by Nigerian Export Promotion Council. They
Mhm.
organized one course breaking the US market. I knew I was
Mhm.
ready. I took that course. So we finished that course middle this year, and then that was where the opportunity came, and they posted that AWE forms there. So that was why
Yeah.
I saw it and I signed up. And out of 15,000 applicants, they chose 200, and I was part of the 200
Mm.
because I put my mind to it.
Mm.
One thing is, when you see those forms, you're like, where do I start? Story of my life,
Yes.
your vision,
Yes.
your
Yes.
this, your that. But when you are ready, you put it there. The opportunities will come. Once your mind is ready, you will see the opportunities. They would come to you. And then I went and we did the New York Fashion Week, and then lockdown happened. I even launched my premium line, the Yetunde Couture,
Mm,
but because of the pandemic, it affected most of the luxury brands, and that is quite
yeah.
it's a premium brand, so I had to hold on it. I think we'll be
Mm,
relaunching next year, So that was how it came. My mind was ready, and I saw the
mhm.
opportunity, and I took it.
Yeah.
So
So so what you have said, and I mean, it's just generally in life, you need to
yeah,
position yourself for opportunities. You have to
yes,
get your ducks in a row. And I can
yes,
imagine that people that are crying over your clothes, they must have looked at the stitching. They would have looked at everything. You know how when we buy clothes from these foreign countries, you know that no stitching will be out of place because
critique it.
everything is in place. Some clothes in Nigeria, you buy, especially the ones you buy from Instagram,
It's
when
like,
you cannot even hang the clothes on the wire.
oh my God, I
You
know,
can't.
right?
You know what I mean? Then the button, the stitching, and because
Yeah,
I'm a perfectionist when it comes to things like that, those are the things I look at. So it's also about positioning your brand because
yeah,
if you want into the global market to play on the global level, you have to
yes.
ensure all these things. Well done, Yetunde. I was so excited when
Thank
I
you.
saw that. Immediately I jotted it. I said, I must ask you how you got this opportunity. So
Thank
how
you. Can
would
I
you
say
say?
something
Yes,
before
please
you
go ahead.
go? Now,
Yeah.
regarding that aspect of
Mhm.
finishing and all that, see,
Yeah.
it's easy to be critiqued.
Yeah.
I made a post before joining this call.
Okay.
I was making videos because of our anniversary, so I
Mm,
had to be changing clothes. And I wore one jacket and it was so tight. And the way I did, I now
mm.
remember that that is how customers look when they order something and then they get it and it's not their right size. So
Yes.
I was acting, and then I said, you
Mm,
see, this is how my customers look when they receive clothes and it's not their size or something.
mm,
The
mm,
fact that you are in business, it is these things will happen. You see these stitches, it will
mm,
happen. Somebody will
mhm.
still not do the work right. And that
Yeah.
is why you have to wear all the hats. So even when
Mm,
the going is going and you're not the one there again, you have to. The
mm,
global level, I had to restructure my product. There was a time when the complaints were just too much and I knew something was wrong.
mm.
Even top brands have challenges. You buy
Yes,
some things,
definitely. Yeah,
even food,
definitely.
you see hair, you see even
Yeah. Yes.
KFC, you
Yes.
see some
Yes.
things,
Yes.
but what do
Yes.
you do after? When it happens, great customer service, some of us will even fight on Instagram and say,
Mm,
you know
yes,
what,
now.
no refund. No refund over something that you are seeing. What will be your joy if you order
Yeah.
this jacket? It's not your
Mm,
size. What will be your
mm,
joy
yeah.
that the customer cannot wear it? I can't sleep
Yeah.
at night. I will change it for you. I know that I've made provisions for those kind of costs.
Mm,
Because some things
yes.
are not valuable. What controls do you have in place? So
Fantastic. Fantastic. So that nobody will go and drag you on his Instagram because
it's even beyond
we're in the age
Instagram.
of dragging and cancel culture. And
You know,
you don't want anybody to spoil your business, something you've been doing for over 13 years. I mean, and someone will just come one night and destroy
and
everything.
destroy.
Yes, yes, yes. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. So I wanted to ask, yes, before we went back, how lucrative is the business? How lucrative? Because I know the cost of things as in things are so expensive, and because you also want to use quality fabric, you don't want to use the
Yeah,
run of the mill fabric. You look for
yeah,
something slightly more expensive, and yet you still want
yes.
to remain affordable. So how do you
Okay.
manage all these things and still be lucrative, quote and unquote?
Nobody goes out naked. You see, this fashion industry is
Mm,
here to stay.
mm,
The sky is so big
mm,
that it can accommodate everybody.
mm,
So with these few points of mine, that's to tell you that you see this market, it cannot be oversaturated.
mm,
Now, we understand that you go there, you see a fashion designer, you go there, you see a fashion designer and all that. But what stands you out is still what you bring to the table.
mm,
Aside quality, there are other ways. Your customer service, your delivery. There are so many ways you can make sure that whether we understand how everything is going, the cost of materials.
mm.
Like, in fact, for the past 2 years, I have not increased prices of my items. How
Wow.
am I doing it? I
Wow.
understand my cost, yes, and I'm looking for how to balance it out. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's getting really frustrating, yeah. But
Mm.
I mean, what do we do? It is what I am. People will still buy the clothes. Just
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you do not reduce your quality and you
Mm.
stand out. What
Mm.
is your brand saying? So beyond just selling clothes, what else are you selling?
Mm.
I've had, maybe because I have been the face of my brand from time. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't like it was a strategy. It just happened, you know. Even when I decide to use models, they still would buy that one I'm wearing
Yes, yes.
because I understand my market. The market is huge. It is
Mm.
worth $3 trillion or so.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
find your space. If you want to do cheap, do your cheap. I gave a cost free for my
Mm-hmm.
birthday. My birthday was about 2 weeks ago, October 16th.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I asked people, I gave them blank check, what do you want and all that, and then they said they wanted me to give free trainings and all. So I decided to take them one course that I know that has been a headache of most fashion entrepreneurs with it, which is how to identify your target audience and niche as a fashion
Mm.
entrepreneur, because you see everybody doing the same thing. You don't even understand what their brand stands for anymore. They are confused, and that's because the information is not there for them. So I had to create that course to understand, and I broke everything down. How you find them, how you find your own space
Mm-hmm.
amongst the, even how challenging it is, how you can still thrive. So
Mm.
it's a growing industry. It is a growing
Yeah,
industry, and there is room for everybody. Do you understand?
yeah,
But pick your
yeah.
niche and do what you have to do with all diligence. Even
Hmm.
when you know that you've messed up, try your best to fix it and fix it fast.
Hmm.
So
Well said. Well said. I was going to ask, but I think you've answered because I was going to speak to diversity. How
okay,
diverse is the fashion industry? But I also, and I'm looking at time, but I also
okay,
want us to talk about your academy. So let's
okay,
quickly answer how diverse is the fashion industry? Because, but you've
okay.
already said it, creating your niche and
Yeah,
knowing your
yeah.
customers. But I just want you to talk more, just a bit more about it, and then we'll now talk
Okay,
about your fashion and your academy because we need to talk about the academy. You're doing great work in the
thank you.
academy. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Like I said, everybody will always wear clothes. And let's even bring it down to Africa. The African print is now, African fashion is now great. Like, and the fact that even African businesses, even let's even bring it, let's niche it down to fashion. It's been recognized across the world. And there was this Beyonce's website that she did, the black owned businesses she did.
Mm-hmm.
If you check that list, we had a number of fashion designers from Nigeria there. That is to tell you that we are wanted
Mm.
everywhere. So where do you want to? It still comes back to positioning. Men will always wear clothes. There are now suits made with Ashoke. In
Yes.
fact, let's not
So.
even talk about sustainability, recycling, all those things. I know of a
Mm.
lady that brings out all the waste we cut from these things, the
Mm-hmm.
thread,
Mm-hmm.
the fabric pieces that we trash that pollutes our environment.
Mm-hmm.
She recycles it and makes it into something that looks like ashoke, but is
Mm.
actually all this Ankara and thread, and it looks like ashoke. She uses it for different things. You can use it to make clothes. It can be foot mats. You can use it to make bags. So it is broad. Where do you want to find yourself? So I think that
Yeah,
answers it.
yeah, yeah, that answers. So let's go into the academy.
Okay.
What was the idea behind the academy? What does the academy do? So I'm going to ask you all these questions so that, but don't rush, please, because we still have
Okay.
time. Don't rush.
Okay.
We're really interested in all this. And then someone has sent a question which we will also ask you. So
Okay.
how did the idea of the, I know you mentioned it, but I want us now, we can talk about the academy, what the academy does for this youth and everything.
I suffered though.
I
I
wasn't expecting that
suffered.
at all.
I
Yeah.
suffered trying to build the business up by myself
Mm,
with no information. Like looking back, I feel like crying.
mm,
And with the pain points, I realized that even there are times when I want to quit, but I look at the people that are in my garment factory. I look at them, I look at people across the supply chain, the customers that will call me and say, oh, buy fabric, the people that are feeding their families through this thing I am doing. And I'm
mm,
like, no, Yetunde, If you don't do this, I'm sure you'll be fine. But what about these people?
Mm.
So it's more personal to me. So now let's bring it down to academy. I realized that a lot of people, the unemployment rate and all that, so a lot of people are struggling, they're suffering. And even those that have businesses don't know how to run it, just the way I said I struggled.
Mm.
I never got any funding. I
Mm.
saved up, my mom ensured I saved up my NYSC money to buy machines
Mm.
every 2 months or so. That was how I started. I was filling one of the forms. I don't know if it's the AWE, and they were asking me how much you invested, or how much did you use to start. I didn't know the answer. I didn't know if you put on 50,000 or 100,000, and that's why till now that question is still hard for me. Like, how much do you
Mm.
need to start the fashion business? Because looking at it now, it is huge. It is beyond me. And then I now look at the businesses that would have just scaled if they just had that support, if they had that person that could open up. And back then, even till now, nobody wants to share.
Mm.
They will not want to share. They believe it's trade secrets.
Mm.
So anytime I teach, one of the things that, in fact, a lady paid for my how to start a clothing line course, and she was like, "Sorry." After the course, she was like, "Why do you give so much? Like, you're even telling me how you make money, where you do this. You even said you give me contact. How? You don't seem normal to me. Are you sure?" And I'm like, I struggled. So that is my joy, the fact that you
Mm.
have it and you can run with it. So I've done it for a few people that know me. I'm like, how do I make more people benefit these things? How do I make them see what I have, what I carry? Every
Mm.
time I have to speak to somebody, I have to speak or teach. I know how much impact I get. I know the kind of, even forget reviews, I know how the businesses have grown. So, how can I reach more people? Rather than do it, before it was all about my fashion brand, I now
Yeah.
said, let me officially launch an academy where we empower youths not only on the vocational training aspect, but on the business side as well. So you don't just come to my school and learn how to cut and sew and go.
Mm.
We teach you the business side, which I take myself. I will not outsource that because it is my story, it is my
Mm.
experience. I say it till now. When people complain about tailors, I said, I'm sorry, but I don't have issues with tailors. This is the same me that 5 tailors left at the same time.
Mm.
During the lockdown, I had to tell so many, we had over 10 of them. I
Mhm.
had to say, you have to go without even saying go. Everybody has gone already. And when we
Yeah.
did that, I was telling my production manager, I said, I want only 4.
Mm.
And guess what? Even the kind of relationship I have with these people, they come, they see this place
Mm.
like home. I have my ways.
Mm.
I have an order. You come and do nights. We schedule. I
Mm.
have my ways because of my many years of experience. So sometimes when I look back and I want to regret, I'm like, no, God took you through that journey for a reason so that you can
Yeah.
impact more lives.
Mhm.
And that is
Mhm.
what the academy is all about.
Mm.
As long as you are ready, mentally ready, your mind is ready for, even if you were not ready before, I will make you ready. And the
By
lady that I
force,
said,
by fire.
by force, because when you see the reality, she
Mhm.
came from my house to start a clothing line course and she saw all the things. She had the money, she was ready to. So I said, no, at this point in time, I think I need to chill
Mm.
and go back to the drawing board and start all over again.
Mm.
So
Mm.
all these trainings I'm doing now, and I'm seeing all the terms, and I'm like, oh, so this was what I was doing. This is what it's called. This is what it's called. This is
Mm.
what it's called.
Mm.
But
Mm.
it's easier in layman language when you're talking to your fellow fashion. They don't understand all this. Is what is
Yeah.
business plan, for instance? Who are you
Yes.
telling that?
Yes. Yes.
Nigerian
Yes.
youths? Hmm.
Mm.
So you need to break it down, and they can relate to my story. And it's easier because I still run the fashion business. So I'm not one of those people that will teach theories. I am teaching you
Mm.
based on practicals. And that's what
Mm.
stands my academy out. The fact that I am more about empowering them, how you skill in that business as long as you
Mm.
are ready.
Mm. Mm.
So
Mm.
that's what we
Yeah,
do at the
yeah. It's very,
academy.
like I said, one word. If I was to use one word, it would be inspirational. Because even me, maybe I'm coming to join your academy. I'm just not a youth
You're
anymore,
welcome.
but I will come and join. So just to further ask questions about the academy, I know that it's the
Okay.
whole value chain for
Yeah.
fashion, yes. And then the business, obviously the business side of the fashion industry. But then, do you have like a platform or an e-commerce platform to, so to say, where they can collectively sell? Do you offer that
Okay.
option, or when they're done, when you've taught them, then they go and do their own thing? Do you have any?
So it's in the
Yeah.
business plan,
Okay.
and one of the things I
Yeah.
want to do is most of them don't have what it takes to start up. And when I
Mm,
say that, you hear them saying funding.
yeah.
So what I plan to do to solve that is to have a production hub where you don't
Fantastic.
need to have, yes, because I
Yeah.
have the resources. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
after school, once people are done with their training, the
Mm-hmm.
machines are just there. So you
Mm,
have something to do. You can
mm,
always come and use my space, use
mm-hmm.
my generator, use my
Mm-hmm.
power, use my table, use my machines, bring in your
Mm-hmm.
tailors, and then you pay a token. So that's one of the
Yeah.
things I plan to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't like to run a production, a garment factory,
Mm,
because I'm not, no, it's really broad. If you would do it, you have to do it well. And I'm not sure
mm,
I want to include that. But I can give you that opportunity to come into the space. And this that you're saying, I've actually thought of a platform. In fact, there was an anniversary I wanted to do that I said, you know what, maybe I should bring in all my fashion, come and
mm-hmm.
sell.
Yeah.
In fact, our 10th anniversary, I did that. I called other vendors to come into my space because I know people will come in, come
Mm-hmm.
to my space, come and showcase yourself. And in fact, they sold and it gave
Mm,
them visibility. So I was thinking I can do that for fashion entrepreneurs as well. We just
mm-hmm.
have this
Mm-hmm.
thing and then all of you just, and probably sooner or later, in fact, right now I still have somebody that I'm selling our kiddies clothes at my store. So I still
Mm-hmm.
see myself having that retail store where all these fashion entrepreneurs come in, they
Yeah. Yeah.
sell. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Or
it's
maybe
in the
put them
plan.
on an e-commerce platform where we can just click and buy this, and then
Mhm.
everybody's buying online now. Okay.
Yes. For now, it's
So
just the Yetroselane e-commerce
yes,
website.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, yes. Okay, good, good, good. So we're about to round up. So just a
Okay.
few questions. So
Okay.
I would say, what would you advise? I mean, you already have your academy where you have where you share your own story and everything, but just someone that says, "Oh, I don't want to go to the academy. I want to go out on my own." What would you advise the youth? Because the youth of today are thinking of making money fast. Nobody wants to go through pain. What would you advise the youth who want to come into the business of fashion or do fashion entrepreneurship? What would you say to them?
It is a process. It
Mm,
is a process. You have to go through the process. It takes
mm,
time. It is a process. You can't jump it. You
mm,
can't. If you skip one process, you come back. It will come back to
mm,
haunt you.
mm, mm,
But like I say, it is easier for you to actually run a business without even knowing the craft.
mm.
Once you know the business side, which I doubt that people actually know the business side. So you have to know your craft
Yeah.
and know the business side.
Hmm.
So open yourself up to lots of resources. There are so many resources out there.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
would all add up. They will add up.
Mm, mm.
Google digital, or is it, yeah,
Yeah.
they have lots of free courses.
Mm-hmm.
Go there. Even LSCTF, I
Yeah.
told you that I'm currently in the AWE,
Yes.
and
Yes.
just last week you had the bookkeeping session and it was
Mm-hmm.
packed. And I'm like, see what is available for free here, and people can see that it's free and you're still not taking it. You see, all
Yes.
these things, they
Yes.
add up. Please pay
Mm,
attention to this. You cannot possibly run a business
mm,
without
mm.
knowing how to run a business. Don't forget that passion is not enough. Whether you know
Yeah.
how to cut or sew, it is not
Mm,
enough. It is
yeah.
not enough. You need to
Yeah.
learn how to run that business, and the resources
Mm.
are out there. Please go for it. The sky will be your starting point.
Amen. So I just want to tell people that on the thread, or sorry, on the live live show, that you can register for the you removed it,
USADF.
IK, USADF courses and fashion courses too below. So for people that are interested, so I have some questions. Someone
Please,
actually
before
said,
then, before then,
yes, I can hear
now
you.
there is something about when people hear things from the government. Now, let me
Mm,
tell you something about LSCTF. They are intentional.
thank you. Thank you
If
so
you
much.
would, I'm a vocational training center. I accept students.
You know the USAD thing.
The the kind of information, the kind of resources they've put together is power packed. The curriculum is so voluminous, is so great that I bet with you, you might not even get that anywhere else. And you are not paying a dime. They even pay you stipend for it.
Mm,
Please, I can see lots of people saying, oh, I applied. Probably you did
yeah.
not pass the test. Don't see it as, oh, is it not just Lagos State? Is it not government?
Mm-hmm.
Please, you are not doing yourself any favor. This initiative is one thing, one of my highlights, one of my confirmation that
Mm,
yes, I am on the right path, even for
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
LSTF, well done. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Yetunde, for saying that because we have that challenge. People apply and then maybe they don't pass the test and they give up. Try
Yeah,
again. Try
yeah.
again. If you put your mind to something, you will get it. So I have someone asking a question saying,
Okay.
my sister is currently training as a fashion designer. We intend to buy a sewing machine and other requirements, but do you advise she starts immediately or she should go for internship in another organization?
Internship by all means.
Okay.
She should not start. She will run back. She has to intern.
Okay.
Intern and even work, please.
Mm,
So that's my advice.
fantastic. So another person said, I was posted to your academy. I had to quit the next day because I'm currently unfit. I wish I could gain access to your academy again when I register for LSETF. How do you answer that?
It's not me. Oh. I'm not the one taking the students.
Because I can't answer that too.
It's
We hope,
LSCTFO.
we hope you get into.
But I mean, you shouldn't have lost that chance. At that point, you could
Mm,
have sent an email to defer your
yeah,
admission. If you walked
yeah.
out of it, I'm not sure you'd get it back. I mean,
Mm, mm.
I'll just see it as you're not serious
You're
about
not
it.
serious.
So
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Thank you, Yetunde. I
it's my
appreciate,
pleasure.
in fact, not only I, the fund, LSATF, we appreciate the opportunity you have given to us to have this live Instagram live show with you. It's been full of beautiful nuggets. And I hope everybody on this live session has written down and taken notes because this is an example of someone who has been there, gone through it, and has even bought the t-shirts to show for it. So thank you so much, Yetunde. Thank you for
Yeah,
allowing us to take some time out of your afternoon.
it's
Enjoy
my
your day.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have a great
thank
day.
you. Thank you
Yeah.
so
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.